Good evening, everyone. I am so glad that you are here and joining us. Um, I'm going to go ahead and add Mrs. Owen to the stage. So we are here tonight to talk about scheduling for students coming into Central Junior High. We have to get used to saying that. Um, Central Junior High, it kind of rolls off the tongue, but it sounds so strange because we're used to saying Ridgeview. But welcome. All right, I see that there are more families joining us. We're excited to have you here. We're excited to be able to go through some things and to um, answer questions as we go. So I want to wait just about another minute here before we officially start going through our slides and the material that we have presented, or we have to present to you. But again, we just want to say welcome to all of the Central Junior High families that are out there joining us. We're excited to talk to you about next year and about scheduling. All right. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and get started for everybody who's here. My name is Mr. Smith. I'm one of the assistant principals here at Ridgeview Junior High, soon to be Central Junior High. And so we want to go through some things with you tonight about scheduling for your for the upcoming school year. So we're very excited to be moving into our new junior high school. What we want to do is kind of talk through a typical school day for you so you can kind of see what that day looks like. Um, and uh, And so once you see the schedule, we'll go through the process of how to add classes, how many classes to add, and things of that nature. All right. Let's see. We'll add Mrs. Evans. Mrs. Evans, you want to say hello?
Good evening, everyone.
All right. Mrs. Owen, you want to say anything?
Yeah, hi there. I'm Mrs. Owen. The other two counselors are finishing up their presentation in person in the gym, and so they will be joining us soon.
All right. So just kind of want to introduce you a little bit here. I'll add Mr. Lee into the stage. He's joining us as well. But we do have 3 administrators as well as 3 wonderful school counselors who are here to help out students each day, as well as a dean of students. So Mrs. Dillard is not joining us, not able to join us tonight, but you'll get to meet the rest of the folks that are on this slide. All right. So our school day is kind of set up periods 1 through 8 with the addition to what we call our Paul time and E&I, which happens after second period. Our Paul time is a time that we focus in on different skills that are going to translate across all the disciplines for all the students. We'll talk about developing a growth mindset. We'll talk about utilizing the R factor as a decision-making tool. And we'll do grade checks there. It's kind of like a homeroom, but there are specific lessons that we go through each day. And then once those lessons are concluded, our students work with their teams of teachers in their E&I to either get some enrichment or to get some intervention support in the classrooms. And then we do have 5 lunch periods. We start serving lunch pretty early here at the junior high. And then, so periods 3 through period 7 are lunches. And students may vary. They may have a lunch during third period 1 quarter and during fifth period another quarter. So that can change each quarter. Lunches vary as a way for us to get kids into more electives of their choice. So if we can be flexible and move the lunches around, sometimes that helps us get them into their first choice electives. All right. So I just went over kind of this slide here and what is Paul time. We'll do some relationship building and some SEL activities. We do things like start with hello, as well as see something, say something from the Sandy Hook Promise Learning Center to kind of build our school community during that time as well. All right, I'm going to let Mrs. Owen take over the scheduling basics and I'll just run the slides. And Mrs. Owen, go ahead and take the show.
All right, thank you. So we are going to be talking about scheduling tonight to kind of get you started with getting your students registered for the 26-27 school year. When they go into register, we will already have pre-populated all of the core classes, the math, English, science, social studies. There will also be lunch, paw time, and study halls already put into their schedule. So all the students really need to do is pick their electives, kind of the fun part, and then just enter those into the system and they're good to go. So it's really actually pretty simple process, but we want to talk to you a little bit about some of the scheduling basics tonight. There you go. So this is a sample schedule, just to give you an idea. We have different kind of electives. We have quarter electives, and we have semester electives, and we also have year-long electives. So some of the quarter electives, might be like medical detectives or PE or, things like that. The year-long classes obviously are the core classes, but we also have if you're a 7th grader, you can do Spanish 1A. If you can also do band or orchestra. If you're not currently in band, you want to talk to the band director, and likely you're going to have to try out. So make sure that you get in touch with them first. If you've been in band, then you're good to go. We also have choir and, and then again, the foreign languages. So we also have semester electives. That would be your art type classes, PE 9, which is mostly just for 8th graders, and environmental science, those types of classes. So when you're scheduling, please know that you have 2 periods to fill with electives. So if you're choosing all quarter-long electives, you're going to be choosing 8 different classes in order to fill 4 different periods, because each quarter there's a class. If you're doing semester classes, obviously 2 semester classes equal a year-long class. And then obviously the year-long classes. So let's just say you want to take choir and band. Then those are the only 2 electives you would be able to take. If you took orchestra and then you wanted to take some quarter-long electives, then you could maybe take orchestra and then 4 quarter-long electives, or a semester long and 2 quarters. So that's just how it kind of stacks up. So you can have a lot of choices there. So we're going to go to the next. I think we're going to skip through the next couple of slides because they're kind of yes, there we go. So we're going to talk a little bit about the hub. This is your best friend for scheduling. The hub has been released to the middle schools, and the counselors have put it on their Google Classrooms. We have also we'll also be putting it out in the newsletter, and students have access to it from Ridgeview. Current Ridgeview students have access to it from their Google Classrooms at school for their teams. So it's out there in a lot of different ways. Just a little bit about this hub. It gives instructions about scheduling. It talks about junior high course offerings. It tells you about those different courses you can click on. It's kind of small, you can't see it, but you can click on the different courses and you can see videos for some of them to kind of help you understand what those classes are. There's also information on athletics and EL and gifted services and special education. So a lot of different things in this small little document. And we are very similar to Lakeview, so we use the same document. We have a class that they don't have. They have some classes that we don't have. There are just a couple of those, but for the most part, everything else is the same. So you can look at this document and get all the information you need. In the purple block to the left, well, before I get to that, let me start with the very top. So there's numbers at the top. The very first one is sort of an introduction to kind of tell you about scheduling and how it works. Then number 2 is the next video that they want to watch. And that one is a step-by-step how to get into Infinite Campus and schedule your classes. And then number 3 is the scheduling timeline. So it is a document that hopefully some of you may have used to get the link for tonight's virtual meeting. But it also has the dates on it. So we are presenting now, giving everyone the information now. And then on the 16th Monday is when the window opens for our students. So so we have provided the students with a worksheet, and if you didn't get one, no worries. There is a worksheet in that purple section on top in the hub. And that worksheet will allow you to kind of see what classes are available, and then you can also use it to plan out what you want to sign up for. So they can use that to help guide them through it. There is also along with the videos, there's a program of study in here, and the program of study is shared with the high school. So the junior high section starts on page 90. And so if you click on that, it will give you descriptions of each and every course, and it will tell you any prerequisites that you might need for those courses. So let's just say you want to take Design and Modeling 2. Well, there is a Design and Modeling 1, so you have to take that first. You also have to take PE before you can take PE 9. So there's a lot of different prerequisites that students need to know about before they sign up for classes also. This document also shows you that there are some year-long classes, some high school credited classes. We do have the languages for high school credit, and we have PE 9 for high school credit, and we also have theater for high school credit. Students do not have to take high school credits in junior high, but we do offer some of those options. So just kind of be aware of that. While we want to see students taking things that they really want to take, we also want you to understand that taking high school classes can be challenging, and we're going to talk about that in just a few minutes. But before we go on, I also want to point out that at the bottom of the hub, there are 2 Google Forms. One of them is for questions about scheduling. So if you have any questions about scheduling, we are going to try to be monitoring the Google form. If you have any questions about athletics, you can also look down there, and there's a Google form for athletic questions. There is also a full section on athletics. There is a link for Lakeview Athletics or for Lakeview North Athletics, and then Ridgeview or Central Athletics. So there's lots of information here for you to kind of peruse, and you can take your time over the weekend and look at it and kind of get ready for scheduling on the 16th. If you're an 8th grader, we're working with the students, and we ask them to go into this year's schedule, because they're 7th graders, and cross off any of the classes that they've already had. And then they were to kind of pick out all the classes that they wanted to take for next year. They cannot repeat any courses except PE. And so make sure that they can go in and just do that. Then they'll have a better idea of what they can take. I think that's it for this slide. We're going to move on to the next slide. Maybe. There we go. So these are some different classes that we have that are for high school credit. I mentioned theater already. It is for a half a credit, And in order to graduate from high school, you have to have a full credit of fine arts. So this would give them half of what they would need to graduate from high school. That is also true for PE. You need a half a credit to graduate, and PE 9 gives them a half a credit or a quarter of a credit toward their graduation. So they would only need to take one other PE class. I also just found out today that summer PE is not going to be available this year. So students would need to take a PE in high school. There is also a PE waiver. That's something that they don't do until they're in high school. Also the languages are on the right hand side. If you're a 7th grader, you can only take Spanish 1A. And then in your 8th grade year, you can take 1B. Again, you do not have to take a language in junior high. A lot of students start in junior high if they're planning to go to the higher level languages. But if your plan is just, you don't have to have a language to graduate from high school, but if your plan is to go to college, and generally colleges are asking for 2 years of the same language, then it's okay to wait till high school. You don't need to do that in junior high. And a lot of times junior high students will take a foreign language and then they will maybe not like it, and then they would have to take a different one in high school. So my advice is we have this wonderful course called Flex, and it's basically a little sampling of the languages that we offer here, and that's French, German, and Spanish. They get just a little bit of each so that they have they're better informed and they're better able to make a decision which language they think they want to take. And then they can always take it their 8th grade year in high school. I mean, they can even wait till their sophomore year, to start taking a language. So they don't have to even take it their freshman year. So that is the information about the foreign languages. I think the next slide has the information on it that I want to share. Yeah, so high school classes, one thing that especially incoming 7th graders and to a great extent the 8th graders don't fully understand is how the high school GPA works, and how when they take a high school credited class in junior high, that grade goes on their transcript, and that is what they send to colleges, and that's what follows them. So we really want to make sure that you understand that if they decide that, to take the Spanish or the German in 8th grade or French, that they will, that the grade that they earn is what they will keep going into high school. So that if they don't do so well, if they get a D in the class, let's just say, then that grade follows them and they enter high school with a 2.0 GPA. And sometimes that's hard to get up. So just kind of keep that in mind as they're going through. We really want to encourage kids that feel that they are strong enough in English and can handle another language. But we also don't want people to feel like they have to do it, because there's plenty of time. And I guess I didn't mention this, these classes go at a high school pace. They are rigorous. They move quickly. So oftentimes students will get in there and then it's too much. So the thing that we just want to let you know is that we are, we have a very, very tight schedule. We build our electives around the number of students that signed up. So when a student decides that they're going to drop a class, especially a year-long class that could potentially take 4 other quarter classes to replace it, sometimes we can't do that because there's just not enough room in the other classes. So we really need to, the students really need to be ready before they sign up for the class and know that it's going to take a lot for this class. They only have 10 days to drop the class with no penalty. Because it's a high school class, we followed the district policy where they have to drop within the first 10 days. If they do not, then they could potentially end up with they will end up with an F for the grading period that they drop. If they're passing the class when they drop it, then they'll get a withdrawal passing for the rest of the year and it won't impact their GPA. But if they're failing the class when they try to drop it, they will get an F for that grading period and they will get a withdrawal failing for the rest of the year, and that can impact their GPA. So please make sure that your kids are feeling comfortable with this. Also, some of the PE can be taken as a pass-fail option. Some students do that just to preserve their GPA. So that's just an option for them. And the next slide.
Oh,
good timing.
Great timing. All right. Thank you, Ms. Owen. For those who do not know me, my name is Erica Reynolds. I am one of the other school counselors. I have last names GE through N. I'm just going to talk with you a little bit just about some of the next couple of slides. First, I'm going to talk about just our IEP planning and process. If your child has an IEP, what does that mean for them as far as when it comes to scheduling? Go to the next slide. There we go. So basically, if your student is currently in 6th grade, or if they're in 7th grade, our special ed coordinator works with your child's teacher, your child's intervention specialist, to come up with the best case scenario for them as far as with their accommodations and interventions. They sit down and look at their minutes, they look at their IEP and their goals. And basically, when they put all those things together, they have a certain things that they have to have in their classes, and certain things they have to have when they're scheduling for the school year. Our special ed coordinator will put these things in. So when your child goes to schedule, we already, as Ms. Owen shared, we preload with their core classes, just for the same for your child. If they do have an IEP, those things will be preloaded, but usually the coordinator usually goes in after. So when you go in on February 16th in Infinite Campus on your child's account, you will see probably just the regular core classes, because he generally goes in after, just to make sure that he meets with the team and come up with the best classes for your child. So some of the things we do offer, we have co-teaching classes, and that's pretty much where we have an IS that's embedded into the core classes, which is English and math. And that IS intervention specialists work with the teacher and the student to make sure that they're getting the services that they need in the class. We have tutoring, which is a small group setting for those who have. Some students have it and some students don't. It just depends if that's written into their IEP plan. But it is a small group setting. It is a full year. So they will have it for every quarter. Generally for our 6th graders coming in for 7th, and our current 7th graders going to 8th, usually will take out their study hall and put their tutoring in, so that way they will have room to be able to have more electives. We've had some parents request to keep their study hall because they need just a little bit more time to be able to get their work done, which is perfectly fine. But a lot of times parents is happy to hear that their student can take that study hall out and keep tutoring there and allow them to have more space for electives. But they do have certain minutes, if it's written in their IEP plan, to make sure that they get those services during that tutoring period. We have independent reading, which is generally offered during our pause time. So that would not take the format of another class. And again, these things will be based on what the intervention specialists come up with and our special ed coordinator based on their IEP plan. Resource room classes, and we have other related services like OT, PT, speech, APE, VI, OMV, just a lot of acronyms. But we have a lot of different services that we offer students outside related services if they are in need, and this written in their plan. And then we also have special transportation for those who have that written in their plan as well. If that is a combination that's written, then we also provide that. So again, for the IEP process, if you have any questions, you can talk with your child's intervention specialist. If they're in 6th grade, you can still talk with your intervention specialist about what that would look like, but you don't have to worry about scheduling anything for your child because those things will be put in by the coordinator. So I'm going to go to the next slide. All right. So for our gifted students, so basically how that works is we look at a multiple of different things from iReady scores to OST scores. A lot of times we have students that may get the gifted placement based on their OST scores, and we may not get it because they take their OST in April. We may not get the results back to late June. And if that's the case, Todd Stanley, we work with, who's the coordinator over gifted placement, will send us a list of students and their placement as far as classes. I always recommend, sometimes we have parents that's curious or is interested in knowing if their child is on track for that. And I highly recommend in talking with your child's current teachers and checking with them. Usually the teachers have a great amount of insight whether or not a student is on that track. And then some may say they have to wait till after OST to see the results. But if you have any questions about the gifted pathway, feel free to reach out to Todd Stanley, and that is his email. So I'll go to the next slide. So just some tips to go back over, because I know we shared a lot of information. The tips, we skipped a slide. I think we go back. We can go back one. There we go. Just to go over just a couple more things and revisit. Just remember, when you go into scheduling, your child will have 2 periods that they need to fill. And those 2 periods, there's 4 quarters. So each quarter is usually a different elective. If they choose a full year class like band, orchestra, choir, or Spanish 1A, or a semester class, then that's going to take up that space for that period. So we always ask the students when they go in to put in their electives to remember to look up in that right-hand corner. And in that right-hand corner, it will say 36 out of 36. And that's how they will know that they are done with putting in their electives. Another thing is the alternates. So along with their electives, they want to make sure that they have at least 4 to 6 alternates when they put it in. One of the big things to remember is when the students go to schedule, they will log in to their Infinite Campus. So it's not the parent that have to log in, it's the student will log into their Infinite Campus. And then when they log into Infinite Campus, on the left-hand side, I call it like the hamburger, they click on that, they're going to see the word something with scheduling, putting in requests or scheduling or something to that wording. It won't show right now because the window does not open until February 16th, which is on Monday. But when the window does open at Infinite Campus, when your child log in, they will see that in the little hamburger part. And they will see where they can go in and pick E for their elective and then pick A for their alternates. We always share with students and parents that because they request, it does not guarantee that they will get that class. So that's why we call it a request. They very well can get a totally different class, but when we flip the switch, you guys put all that information in, and it's kind of like we flip a switch in Infinite Campus, and it goes and it assigns the students to their teams, and then it also assigns their electives. So a lot of times students may come and say, hey, I didn't get my elective that I picked. I got my backup. And that could be because the class was full, or it didn't work out in their schedule because of the different electives are offered different periods. Another thing that I want to make sure to also remind your child, we have a lot of students that go and they have their best friend with them when they're doing their entering their electives, and they pick the same classes. And um, one child may be an art type of student, and then the other one may be more of a hands-on computer type. And then they get into the class and they're like, I don't like this. So we always tell students to make sure that they pick the things that they're interested in. Even if they pick the same electives as their friend, they can very well have the same classes, but it could be offered different periods and different quarters. So just because they pick those classes together will not guarantee that they're in class together. And then last, when students are scheduling, just make sure that they are really taking a look at the videos that is in the scheduling hub, looking at the definitions, and they can go through the course handbook to look to see what the classes are about and read about them. And we just say this only when we have students come in at the beginning of the school year wanting to switch their schedule. We create the classes based on the number of requests that we get. So if we get a certain amount of requests for medical detectives, one, and then we have students switching, and then we have to tell them it's full, that is because typically we go off the number of requests that students share with us. So just encourage them to make sure when they're picking their classes that they're picking things that they really enjoy doing and not doing because their friends are doing it. So I think that is it for this slide.
I want to also add that there's been a lot of questions in the chat. So again, to access the information, the portal, we have shared that information with the middle school counselors. They posted that on their Google Classroom, so your child can access it through their Chromebook. We have also put it out in our newsletter, and our students have, it's also on the team Google Classrooms, so you can access that information that way. And to know how to schedule, again, there's a 1, 2, 3 at the top of the hub, and the number 2 is a step-by-step of how to schedule. And there's also a paper version or a printed version of the instructions within the hub that you can click on.
Yes. And we're going to just double check in with the middle schools just to make sure, because I know we had some parents in the other meeting was saying they couldn't find it, to see if they can either send it out through talking points or make sure that is in the parent newsletter. So just make sure you take a look at that and see if it's in there, or if something come through talking points, it may be that. So either or, we'll make sure that that is sent out to you guys. And I think the next slide, there we go. So the deadline for entering request is Wednesday, February 25th. That pretty much is the deadline. It takes maybe about 10, maybe 15 minutes just to go in and request, really less than that if students already know what they want. So it's not a lengthy process. It's just a matter of them going, logging in, and then just picking their courses. That's why we were trying to encourage them when we met with middle schools in the past 2 days, and 7th graders got some information as well this week to help them start pre-planning for their day off on Monday. Well, actually their day off if they are a Ridgeview student right now. So if they're a 7th grader right now, they have Friday off, only for Ridgeview though. But we're just trying to get them to pre-plan so they can go ahead and start looking now. So when Monday come and they wake up at noon, they can pull out that paper, or they can pull up their Chromebook and start picking their electives that they're interested in, and then also picking their backups. So I think we go to the next slide. All right. So I'm going to hand this over to Miss Tiffany Dalton.
Hi, everyone. My name is Tiffany Dalton. I am the Building and Athletics Secretary here at Ridgeview, soon to be Central Junior High School. Just wanted to go over, a lot of our incoming 7th graders have a ton of questions about sports. So we just wanted to make sure that that was included on your presentation tonight. First of all, to start off, my information is here on this very first slide. You can email me or give me a call with any questions that you have, and I will answer them as quickly as possible to make sure that you're all taken care of.
You can also use the Google form.
Yep, there's going to be, oh yeah, you guys already went over the Google form. There is that
Yeah.
Google form on the hub sheet as well, that you can use that form and it will come directly to me, and I will make sure to get back to you and get you your answers. As you can see on your screen, we have fall sports, winter sports, and spring sports here in the 7th grade at Central Junior High School. We have football, girls volleyball, golf, cross country, girls tennis, and cheer, all for the fall sports. I'm going to touch a little bit more in a couple of slides regarding football and cheer, because those do look a little bit different since they're in the beginning of at the start of the school year. In this fall sports category, the tryout sports that you have are volleyball and cheer. So those are the sports that you would come out. There's going to be conditioning and tryouts for. Football, golf, cross country, and tennis are all sports that if you want to participate in, you can come in and participate, so long as the roster isn't completely full. So I like to tell people, if we've got 150 kids coming out for football, we're going to have to cut some of those kids. That not all 150 are going to be able to play. So just keep that in mind as you go forward. For winter sports, we do have girls and boys basketball. That is a tryout sport. You can see that there's another cheer in here. There's also wrestling and swim club. For wrestling, that is the only sport in this winter category that you do not have to try out for. Also, we do allow our girls to wrestle. This year, we had 5 girls, I believe, on our wrestling team who were able to participate. And we're hoping for more girls so that we can have an all-girls wrestling team in the future. Wanted to tell you a little bit about swim club. That is not necessarily offered at Central Junior High School, but there is a club that is offered at Central High School. If you have a swimmer who is interested in joining that club, contact me, give me your student's name and information, and I will make sure to get in touch with the coach of the swim club and have them reach out to you so that they can give you information that's needed for the swim club. For spring sports, we have boys volleyball, track and field, softball, baseball, lacrosse, and boys tennis. The boys volleyball team, we were hoping to have enough boys at our school to get our own team, but unfortunately this year we are doing, we did not have enough. So this year, again, we're going to go ahead and combine with Lakeview to have one junior high school team. And that is currently housed at the Lakeview School. For track and field, that is one that you do not have to try out for. If you want to participate, you just show up to your the practices and you are a part of the team. Softball, baseball, and lacrosse, all of those are ones that you try out for. We do have boys and girls lacrosse, so girls are given the opportunity for that as well. We can go ahead and go to the next slide. Thank you. So for your athlete, the way you're going to keep in contact and communication with your coaches is through Final Forms. It's a system where you will plug in your information and your students' information, and all communication that needs to be relayed during or for that sport will be done based off of the information that you put into Final Forms. So it's typically an email that comes to you, and they'll let you know when tryouts start, when conditioning starts, if they need to cancel for any reason. All of that information will come through your Final Forms email. Parents, it starts with you. You would start the Final Forms process, and once you complete all of the paperwork, it then kicks over to your students. So they do have a piece of Final Forms that they have to complete as well. If you have a student who is interested in multiple sports, make sure that you select all sports that they're interested in so that you're not missing any communication from the coaches. And this is not a commitment. So if your kid decides that they want to put basketball on at the beginning of the year on Final Forms, and then when basketball season comes around and they're like, I don't want to do basketball anymore, football was too much, I need a break. Totally fine. You can just go back into Final Forms. You can unselect the basketball, and then you're taken off of communication from the basketball coaches. Rising 7th graders, registration opens up for you starting on June 15th. So this is where I wanted to talk just a little bit about cheer and football. Because registration doesn't start until the middle of June, it is very likely that you would miss communication from the coaches giving you information about tryouts and conditioning. So if you use the Google form or shoot me an email or give me a call, I will add your name to a running spreadsheet that I have for rising 7th grade parents so that I can make sure that you get the communication. You're not missing anything until Final Forms is opened up for you. Physicals will need to be filled out and completed by your primary care physician. But if you don't have a primary care physician, or if it's taking too long for you to get that appointment, no, there's no problem. You can get this done at a CVS, a Kroger, or we actually offer a pediatric associates site at Tusing Elementary School. And they are there for physicals, among other things, but they expect to see students come in to get their physicals done. And if you get it done there, they actually will then just send over the physical to me, and I can get it taken care of for you on the back end. Your physicals would be good for 13 months, so just over a year. And part of the Final Forms platform is to remind you that we'll keep track of the physical and when it's due. So about 45 days before the physical expires, Final Forms will send you an email to give you an update and let you know that it is your physical needs to be updated for the next round of any sports that your kids want to play. Right there on the bottom of the screen, you're going to see the athletics website, which is pickeringtoncentral.bigteams.com. If you were to go to this website, it's going to look like you have logged in or you've gone to the high school's athletic webpage, which is slightly true. There is a drop-down option for you to select 7th or 8th grade, and that will pull up the teams for you to see for your student here at the junior high level. Okay, we can go ahead and switch, please. And then my last slide that I have is regarding grades for students. Right now, if you have a 6th grader who's coming into 7th grade, your student does need to be passing all 4 of their classes and have a minimum GPA of 1.75%. When they get to the junior high level, so let's say that they start in winter, they want to do a winter sport, they would then have to be passing 5 out of 7 classes and maintain the 1.75 GPA to participate. Junior high sports do come with a pay-to-play fee. It's $155 per sport per student. So they have an opportunity to play every season if they want to, but it is going to be $155 each sport. Drug tests are required for all junior high athletes. So that's going to be something different. A lot of the kids aren't used to. The clinics are available here at the school. They will come in and take the drug tests here. It is a clinic that, so let's say that your student is absent or for whatever reason you couldn't get to the drug test. That's okay. You can do the drug test on your own. However, the district does use a certain company that does the drug test. So we would give you, I think it's like 2 or 3 locations that you could go to get the drug test completed. But it's not something that you could do with your doctor or, a company that you found on your own. It is a district approved company that they go through. Study tables are available after school for students who have practices, who just kind of need just a little bit of time. So let's say that your student's the practices start at 3:30. The bell rings at 2:10 and school's dismissed. So instead of leaving the building and going on the bus or going home, your student does have the option to stay after school here in the building. They would go to the cafeteria and they would be supervised by a couple of our duty aides who would stay with them until their coach came and picked them up and took them to their practice. This is something that the students have to sign a contract for, so they need to know the behavior requirements and all of the things. It is a contracted opportunity for them, so, and for you. Let's say that your sport starts practices at 5 o'clock. Your student would need to leave the school, and then they would come back with their own transportation for their practice. The duty aides are only here until about 3:15, so the coaches would be any practices starting after 3:15, they would need to leave the building for and then return with their own transportation. One more note about, actually, I think I may have touched it, but again, just in case, cheer parents and football parents, please make sure that you use me. You get that email, fill out that form. I will get that communication to you so that your student isn't missing anything that they need to make sure that they are able to participate in a fall sport if they want to. We want to make sure that they have that opportunity. Cheerleaders, there is an opportunity. Your cheerleader could potentially be on 3 squads if they choose so. We do have a fall sideline cheer team, we have a winter sideline cheer team, and we have a competition cheer team. In the event that your cheerleader does want to participate in all 3 cheer squads, you would only have the 2 pay to participate fees, not the 3. I think that is all of the information that I have. Again, just a reminder, June 15th is when rising 7th graders can log into Final Forms and get registered. So that's all I have. Thank you so much for your time, and let me know if you need anything from me. I'm looking forward to meeting your kiddos.
So now we're going to open it up. If any of you have any more questions, we've kind of been following along in the chat. It looks like a lot of the questions have been answered, but if you have any more, please, put those in the chat at this time and we can try to address some of those. I noticed there were a lot of questions about pay to play, and each sport is $155, and you do have to pay the next year even if you play the same sport.
Can I jump in real quick just to add something I forgot and I saw it over in the chat?
Mm-hmm.
Junior high level, we do not offer soccer. That is a sport that is offered at the high school level. So unfortunately, soccer isn't offered here or at Lakeview. They would just continue to keep doing their club sports if they're a soccer player.
Could our counselors speak to, there were a couple of families that asked about are study halls required? And I know I put in the chat how much students benefit from study hall, and there's a significant difference in the level of independence and responsibility between 6th grade and 7th grade. But I was just wondering if one of the counselors wanted to chime in on that question since it came up a couple times.
Sure. I didn't know if someone was going to jump in. Sorry. Definitely recommend having the study hall. I saw the question. I saw your answer, Mr. Smith. I think that was a great way to answer. Definitely recommend a study hall, at least starting, so that your student gets used to the workload. And then, if that is a decision you want to make, then we just need that as a parent request. Make sure the parent requests them to be opted out of the study hall. But we would recommend it for sure, at least the first quarter.
All right. There was a question that came in. How will the dismissal system work for students? I'm not sure what that question is really referring to. So if you could maybe clarify in the chat for us, I'd love to try to answer.
Hello? I can answer this. It looks like it was a sports question with dismissal. It depends on your sport at what time it starts. Typically, sports that start right after school would start at 2:45. Those athletes would go to study table, and their coach would pick them up at 2:45 and head to practice. Be it cheerleading, I know basketball. I am not sure about football because typically, if I recall, football started a lot later. So students would get on the bus, go on their bus, go home, and come back to football practice. It just depends on the sport and what time they practice. I hope I answered that question. Hope I answered that question.
I can answer the question about iReady. There was a question asked if the child has to do iReady. We do use iReady at the junior high level, not just for diagnostic, but students also do lessons. So it is for reading and math. And I believe that the junior high level will be the end for the most part. I know once they get into high school, they only use it for the diagnostic, but they will have lessons to do here while they're with us for 7th and 8th grade.
All right, I can answer the question about where can I get the scheduling hub document. That was actually, if your student is at Ridgeview, that was sent out through Talking Points. It was also shared with your student, but if they are in the middle school, they should have put that information in the newsletter. We're going to reach out just to make sure with the middle school that they have that linked in there.
And the counselors have also put it on their Google Classroom, so your child can access it through their Chromebook. So you can get on Infinite Campus there that way as well.
I saw will buses already be outside during dismissal time. We hope so. We would love to have them out there during dismissal. I know it's been quite a challenge here at Ridgeview with buses lately, but that is the plan. Yes, and it's going to be a little unique to our new building. Buses will have their own entrance and exit, and kids will load and unload from the back of the building, where parents will be picking up and dropping off in the front of the building for pickup and drop off. I did also see another question about fall sports and golf. My recommendation is if your child is an athlete, please make sure they're listening to Harmon and all their middle school announcements, because we send it. Miss Dalton sends announcements to the middle school and they post it. I'm guessing on their teacher medias and or their student media sites. So just
Yes,
be on the lookout for it.
I'm sorry, Mr. Lee, to interrupt you. I do plan on sending out information to the middle schools as I get the information, so that they can include it in their newsletters for you. But again, if you just want to shoot me an email or fill out that Google form, I will make sure that you get the information that you're looking for.
I also saw that somebody asked about the open house. We have an open house next Thursday. It's right after conferences, so you can come out and join us and kind of check out the new school.
All right. Are there any other questions? Feel free, throw them at us. I think we did a really good job.
Well, thank you all for joining us tonight, and hopefully we got all your questions answered. We really look forward to seeing your students at Central Junior High and getting to know you a little bit better, incoming 7th grade parents. So you all have a great night, and we'll hopefully see you at the open house.
Bye.
Have a good night, everyone.